So hello and welcome to the Dharma Life podcast. I'm your host, Aloise.Middleton. And today I have with me a really old, dear friend of mine, somebody who is very important to me in life, who has been on the podcast many times, but today is no different. He is a Chinese energetics specialist, a Chinese acupuncturist, and a really fantastic teacher. And Nick, I'd love to say thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. When you referred to me as very old, I think you meant an old friend rather than very old.
Did I say old?
Yes, it's fine. It's fine. I
That's a good
liked it.
start.
I liked
Insult
it.
my
I
guests.
am. I'm in the late part of my 60s, so that's fine.
A very old, did I say that? I'm so sorry. I meant to say, and a very old friend, old dear friend of mine.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
Very old person.
Yeah. Lovely to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. We thought it was a good time for you to come back just purely because we are in real uncertain times. And it's a time of great change on the earth. And I think a lot of people are struggling. And you call it sitting in the soup.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what is happening right now on earth? Because we are in this energetic shift. We are in this great awakening. But it's a time where people are feeling really uneasy and uncertain. Politics, geopolitics, just everything is kind of unsettling us, really.
Yeah.
What is happening out there?
Okay. Um, so my mother was a very famous writer, and she said when you write a book, you have the beginning, you have the muddle, and then you have the end. And we
Yes.
know with things like a butterfly, it goes from this munching caterpillar into this soup of nothingness before it becomes a butterfly. So we're
Right.
currently sitting in the muddle, we're sitting in the soup. And we're sitting in the soup and the muddle where something old is dying and something new has yet to become. And to give you and the people listening a kind of sense of the magnitude of this, and I'm not alone in saying this. If you look at all the kind of astrologers, whether it's Chinese astrologers, Western astrologers, wherever the people are saying the same thing. But certainly from an energetic perspective, the last time we had this level of shift was over 2000 years ago. So we'll have not known it in our lifetime. We'll have not known it in a known generation experience. And what we're basically seeing is geopolitics, spirituality, and consumerism, how we consume and what we think we can do, are all trying to shift into a different energy. And what that means is they're trying to take a different energetic form and a different structure. And they're all trying to shift at the same time
Wow.
at a period within a 60-year Chinese cycle, which is the equivalent to 1960s when we're trying to decide how we want the world to be. I think in the mid 60s, there was a lot of stuff for people saying we want peace and love and harmony and sustainability, and another group saying, actually, no, we don't want that because it doesn't serve the machine. So we've got the equivalent of 1960s, but we've got it on steroids. It is massive. And currently, we're in the soup and have been in there since about 2020. And if you are someone who is sensitive, you'll have losing an old identity of who you were, sitting in that period of nothingness, which can be quite uncomfortable before you've yet to discover uh, who you are. So we've been sitting in the soup, and we have been, and that has been the right thing for many people and us in society to do. However, it's not the right thing for us to continue to do. But it
Okay.
is a
So we
time of
would have
great
been sitting in
change.
this soup for quite a while then, by the sound of things.
Yes, we've all had different experiences of it, and there would have been different initiators to the soup sitting there, the dismantling. So it might have been 2020 within that COVID stuff that might have been lost, or it might have been your business completely changed or collapsed or something. There would have been different initiators to it, or you could have just gone into a very deep searching around who am I, what am I about. It could be that you think, actually, I don't like my life. I've got some things I don't like it. I need to do something different. Or it could be that you've just had this enormous sense that everything has been building up to a moment and you've had to do a shift in yourself to come out to do what it is that you're here to do.
Mm.
Or the dark night of the soul. It's a
Mhm.
dismantling in simple terms.
Right.
It's a
The dark night of the
dismantling.
soul is an interesting term because I've had a lot of people recently going through that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what can sometimes be confusing and get to be quite a lonely experience within it is the very nature of doing the dark night of the soul or sitting in the soup. It is actually quite an isolating experience.
Mm.
So there are all these people sitting in their chrysalises in the soup, in their isolated experiences, doubting, dismantling, and stuff. So by its nature, it is an isolating experience.
Mm.
And the loss of identity or what you're here to do, what the challenge is. So it's an isolating experiences. And then you have certain people that are not sitting in the soup.
Okay, so what percentage of the population do you think are sitting in the
I,
soup?
I don't know it because I'm biased because I work with I call them sensitive searching souls, people
Right.
that are searching for possibilities, people that have been building to this time that are very sensitive to the energies. And I think if you are a sensitive person, these big external waves of geopolitics, consumerism, spirituality, as they're all trying to change energies and the world is in turmoil, I think if you are sensitive, that can be quite a tough thing to be living with.
Mm.
Just the whole ground underneath is moving and changing. The things you knew were certain are gone. And if you're sensitive to that, it can. Some people are just not that sensitive to that energy,
Mm.
and they're plodding along in the way that they're
It probably
doing. And
depends on whether you're spiritually awake or not, maybe.
I don't think it's necessarily whether you're awake or you're not. I think it is your sensitivity, and I think it's what you have been building up to do. And then there is also, for everyone, it is stressful.
Mm.
Whether or not you're recognizing it or not is stressful. And one of the things that we do as human beings when we get under stress of particularly of unknown and great change
Mm.
is we say, I want certainty and I want simplicity and I'm going to put things in boxes. So I'm certain that they're like this and I'm certain that this is going to happen. I'm certain I can't do it or I'm certain. So we go for certainty a way to hold on to the uncertainty. And people's certainty can be very opinionated views on how things are, and they can appear to be absolutely fine because I'm certain how things are. And I practiced acupuncture Chinese medicine for 40 years, and people that exist in a field of certainty are great. They can be very certain about how things are
Mm.
until that certainty can no longer exist. So an example would be, I am certain that if I am ill, that the NHS, or that I'm certain when I'm ill, I'll be able to have it fixed. They're certain in that, and so they don't worry. And then people would come to me and they would say, I can't believe I've got this thing. And I went to the doctor and they say they don't know what it is. And they're literally freaking out because their certainty that the NHS will be able to diagnose and fix whatever happened or the certainty that they would never be ill or whatever it would be. So when our certainty is lost,
Mm.
if you come from a place of certainty, it can be literally collapsing. Whereas I think the sensitive souls are not really operating necessarily always from a place of certainty. They're operating from a place of exploration. So it can be slightly easier. But at this time of great change, it's still a stress. And you think, oh, I was certain I was going to be okay. I was certain that my spiritual journey was going to make me okay. I was certain I was going to you think, actually, you know what? I have collapsed. I've collapsed and I was sure I wasn't.
Well, I would say the same about my own life. I wasn't certain I was going to kind of bust through and do well, and things took a different direction. So
Yeah, yeah.
you can't be certain about everything in life, I don't think.
No, but it is a propensity when we're under stress to be certain. So we might just do certain that other people are wrong and certain that I'm right. When
So
I'm at
basically,
this,
what we're saying is this soup, this kind of in the middle of a caterpillar, or sorry, in the middle of becoming a butterfly,
yeah,
we are sitting in this soup and we are experiencing this muddle. And it's more likely to be the sensitive souls that are the ones experiencing
correct.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not worried, I'm not necessarily worried or concerned about the people that appear not to be struggling. That's their stuff. I'm more trying to say, okay, well, let's try and help people that are sensitive souls that are searching, that perhaps have stuff that is here that to do, to come out of the soup and to get to be who they
Who they
have
truly
almost
are.
been, their Dharma, destined to be.
Yes.
Because there is a whole series of life experiences that they've had that have led them up to this moment in order to get out there, but they're stuck in the soup
Yeah, for
when,
sure.
and they need to get out.
So now is the time to get out.
And now is the time to get it. It has been
Okay.
perfect sitting. You have not failed collapsing or sitting in the soup or dismantling. That's what you're meant to have done.
Right.
You're just not meant to have stayed. You're not meant to be staying in the soup now,
Okay.
particularly moving into 2026. You're meant to be coming out of
Okay.
it because once we move into a different energetic phase, things are a bit more set. So now is the time to come out. However, there are challenges to that.
So let's talk about each energy type
Yep.
and what they will be experiencing, because I
Yep.
think most people who follow us will have done their energy test. And if they haven't, they can go and do it.
Yeah, yeah. Just go to Five Institute, and it's a vitality test, and it's completely free. And it'll tell you this balance of these five energies that we have within us, and they can help us understand what we're here to do, our superpowers, our purpose, etc., and also why we might struggle with why we might have got in the soup, and also why we might be struggling to come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's start with fire energy.
Okay.
Seems there's a better place to start than ever. That's me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to
Good
have.
place to start.
So, so fire energy is related to summer. It's around have this big question of am I loved? Do I is there love? Am I appreciated? Am I bringing joy? So when one's sitting in the soup, what one's meant to do to come out of the soup is one's meant to be an illuminating, shining light to show people a way to the future, to say, let me illuminate the way, let me be optimistic, let me see possibilities, let me shine a light, to let me bring joy, happiness. That's what they're here to do, to be the illuminators of the path forward. Optimistic against all odds, to spread love and joy out into the world. I think the 1960s is peace and love and joy. So that's one of their many roles. Where they can struggle with is the big question that they have is, am I loved? Do I bring joy? So
Yeah.
when you've been sitting in the soup as an isolated experience, you have lost all sense as to whether you're loved or you bring joy. You've often lost the very thing that you're good at, which is your happiness and joyfulness, and it has just been an isolated, loveless, joyless existence. Now, what you might have also done as your distraction while sitting in the soup is that at these times of great change, we see drama, particularly in the wood snake year we're in. And snakes are about the deceits, the deception, the lies. I think kind of biblical things, snakes were around deception and lies. Lots of books, that's what they do. Not trying to malign snakes, because I'm sure people have snakes that they love dearly, but there is an energy that is around deception and lies. So we've had in 2025 us revealing of the deceptions and the lies. Now, what we're meant to do is we're meant to revolutionize our lives, wood energy, create a revolution in our lives by recognizing and seeing certain things that were never true about us. And it might be with fire energy, what was never true was that you weren't loved. It was never true that you weren't appreciated. It was never true. It was, what do we have as a limiting belief that we adopted at some point we believed to be true that was never true? It was perhaps a misunderstanding. So one of the things within this wood snake year that we can all be prone to, but fire energy can be more prone to, is getting drawn into the drama, gossiping, excitement, or this is happening and this is happening in the outside world, and not doing our work because it's easier to be in the drama and gossiping and sending out messages. Have you seen this has happened and this has happened and this secret's been revealed? And we're not doing our work, and we think we're being busy. We think we're doing our work here, but actually we're just in the drama of the situation, as opposed to being out there illuminating a true path of love and peace in the world.
Right.
So the distraction of the drama for fire energy is the big thing, or having to really tackle this question of am I loved? Do I bring joy? Do I bring happiness? The answer to that question is yes, you do.
Mm,
You just won't see it
mm,
because it's not for you to see, it's for other people to say to you, oh, thank you, I love that, thank you. And for you to go, oh, my pleasure, I love that, thank you.
okay. Okay, so fire energy, basically the primary question is, am I loved? And they might
Yeah,
be feeling unloved through this
yeah,
process, through
yeah,
being in the soup. And actually
yeah.
they have to avoid the drama and they have to basically go into shining their true light.
Shine their true light, be out there in the world with a sensitivity that they have, that when the world is in turmoil and people are very certain, you go out in the world and shine your light. There'll be people saying, stop saying what you're saying isn't right, what I believe is right. So you will come up against conflict.
Right,
And that can be very sensitive and difficult for someone with a fire energy because they have sensitive hearts. So you just literally just let it go.
right. Okay. Okay,
Yep.
fantastic. Thank you. That makes a lot of
Yep.
sense to me. So if we go to earth energy next.
Yeah, so earth energy is related to late summer, and late summer are those lazy, hazy days where everything slows down. So it's less expansive than fire energy, but it has this time for having conversations and some stuff going around food. The big question is, do I understand? Am I understood?
Yes.
So earth energy, when it goes into the soup, it's saying, I need to make sense of things. I need to. Earth energy is also our ability to assimilate, to pull things together. So they're very good at pulling people together in groups, and they have communities and all stuff like that. So when they've been going into the soup, they've been visiting some of the questions of, do I understand? Am I understood? But I think one of the things that has been a trigger for many people with earth energy, if they have been in the helping world before, is that one of the lessons that they need to learn is to know the difference between giving and sacrifice. So they may well have had to go into the soup because they got themselves into a situation where they were sacrificing to their community and overgiving and over-supporting, and at the same time trying to make sense of things and understanding things, and just had to say, I just can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to withdraw in order to reassemble and come out in a format that is able to have a community and support others, but not sacrifice.
The boundaries.
And to have those boundaries. And we've just had 2 wood energy years, and wood energy is about boundaries. So you'll have had experiences around what happens when you don't put a boundary in place and what happens when you do put in a boundary. What happens when you say, yes, I'll do everything for everybody, and you don't actually look after yourself.
Mhm.
So you may well have had situations of just burning out with it. One of the secrets with earth energy is to eat really well and have a really good diet. One of the responses with earth energy under stress is to eat food that stops you thinking. So too much wheat, too much dairy, too much sugar, just overeating because it stops you thinking of all the things that you don't know and all the misunderstanding and all the stuff you have going on inside you. But your job is really to I have a lot of earth energy, so my job is to give understanding to people, help people make sense, to bring them together, to assimilate them, to get them to pull themselves back together again, to go out into the world. And if you have earth energy, that's kind of what you're doing. You're holding people, bringing them together to make sense, to create space, unconditional space of acceptance. It's fine who you are. Let's get you out there in the world doing your thing. Let me support you. But there is a difference between support and sacrifice, or difference between support and smothering them with your too much information and too many ideas. So that is one of the processes with people with earth energy have been doing, is to work out that difference between sacrifice and giving, and they need to come back out with a new structure and a new form and boundaries to do the stuff that they do well, but not sacrifice, not burn
Not
out,
sacrifice themselves.
not
Earth
sacrifice
energy needs
themselves.
to make sure they're not haven't been sacrificing themselves. They need to be looking after themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yes,
And they also need to be looking after themselves from a community perspective boundary.
yeah, yeah, some boundaries in place, and putting some boundaries in place. And it's a
Okay.
brilliant, they're both fire and earth energy. They're brilliant energies for this time. It brings us together, peace, love, community. Think the 1960s is kind of what we're meant to be about.
Yeah. Okay. And then metal energy, what will they be experiencing?
So metal energy is related to autumn, to fall, and the big question with metal energy is what's missing, what isn't there. Okay, so we started out this 2020 field of when we started to move into the soup with two metal energy years. So metal energy with that autumn fall, it's about disconnection, it's about isolation. So you'd think this period of time was quite good for that energy because they would cope well with the isolation. But the challenge, I think, can be in that dismantling of the with metal energy of sitting in the soup is starting to get into a sense that so much is missing, so much isn't there, so much is incomplete. Seeing ideas and possibilities and then just pulling them apart in your head. So perhaps seeing your own ideas and your possibilities and then saying, yeah, but this is missing, this isn't good enough, I can't do this. It has a big thing around perfection. So metal energy has a place in the soup that feels a bit more comfortable with the isolation, but with no external feedback, you can very quickly start to see everything as being wrong. And that leads into an energetic downward spiral of this is missing, this is wrong. With the complexity of this change that we're having at the moment, metal energy loves simplicity. It loves things to be simple, to be complete, it wants simplicity.
Mhm.
And with this massive change, it is not simple. It's highly complex with new things trying to shift around. So metal energy can be really distressed by the lack of simplicity. They have very sensitive energies. They pick up things very easily. It's like a vulnerability to them. So they don't want to be out there in a world where everyone is shouting at each other with their certainty and their opinion and this, and they say, this is just, I hate this world. It's all so brutal and harsh and complicated and everything is wrong. And so the danger with metal energy is that they can feel good to be isolated and therefore stay in an isolated space. So they say, I can cope with isolation. I can cope
Mm.
with being. I don't need anybody in the world. I don't want to be part of this world.
Right.
And there is a the gift of metal energy is they have an ability to be distant, to step out from something and allow us to see from distance to see what's really going on. And this is very simple. Just do this, just do this. The difficulty is that their distance can become dissociation and detachment. And their dissociation and detachment, the world is poorer for their dissociation and detachment because they hold lots of the simplicity pieces that could put us all back together again. They hold the missing bits. So they can get stuck in this is missing, this isn't right, this isn't okay. I can't go out in the world because it's so harsh and everyone is shouting at me. What I'm going to do is just distance myself and dissociate myself. I might do that by getting the drama, looking for what's missing and secrets, or I might do that dissociation and detachment of saying, actually, I know I've opted out of life.
Right,
I'm
you've
no
checked
longer
out.
playing this game.
Wow.
I've opted out. Don't want to be part of this. It's a mess. I don't want to be part of a mess. I don't want to be associated with a mess. I'm opting out of this life. Now, that can come in many forms. It could just be I've opted out, not playing the game anymore. And then there can be the people deciding that this life is not for them anymore and finding ways to move on to it. And we have seen a horrific exponential rise in suicide and loss and stuff because we're in a metal energy block of time. And if you have a lot of metal energy, it's a brutal world out there to experience. Um, so the secret is to do work around your breathing. Gratitude is great for some energies. It's a mess for other energies. But with metal energy, to say what's there and what you have got, and to be able to learn to accept imperfection and still go out the world in an imperfect state is the big lesson that they're wanting. And to know that they are actually always complete.
So carry on, basically, metal energy
There is a carry on.
overlooking.
Yeah, and just recognizing that, you can be in a meeting. You can be in a meeting, and the meeting can go on and on and on. You're all discussing the things you're trying to solve the problem, and then someone with metal energies, usually at the end, because that's their game, they'll say, it's really simple. We just need to do this, and everyone goes, "Oh yeah, it's really simple." Um, And that's what metal energy is really doing. So it's very simple. Let's just do these things first,
Yeah.
move it on and get the job done and get it finished. Or they can do if they're in a down state, they go, well, that idea doesn't work because it's missing this. So they can be dream crushers, but they can also just do the simplest path through. Let's just do this. Let's just detach, do this. They are often people with a lot of metal energy are all the kind of Buddhist, Taoists, minimalists say, actually, we don't need much. We're fine with less. And that less is a good thing. So what we've been given is an opportunity, all energies, to have less, to get rid of things, to release things. And metal energy is great at helping you release things. So it's a great energy for that. And a great energy for the world at the moment. Quite tough for them to live with.
Okay, so streamline.
Streamline, make things less, and know that you have to stay connected because we desperately need you to be part of the solution. You are the gift. And
Okay.
you don't have to be positive all the time. We need to be positive, upbeat. No, you don't. You just need to, that is people who are fire energy like
And
me and you,
will
we
the
can,
energy be shifting to support us coming out of the soup?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're we're in a block, 12-year block, middle of a 12-year block, which has got two metal energy years to start with and two to end with. So that was the examination. Can we let go? Can we elevate? Can we move into something new? Um, we have had last year was a wood dragon year. Wood energy is about revolution,
Yes.
change, teaching us boundaries. Dragons give messages from heaven down to earth. Great thing. This year's wood energy about more revolution and change. Snakes grow by shedding old skins and finding light. So we've had a brilliant 2 years of putting in boundaries in place. We've got imagination, we've got creativity, we've got possibilities, we've got all the shedding of old identities, we've got getting rid of limiting beliefs. This year, 2025, is the best year in the 60-year cycle to get rid of limiting beliefs. It's fantastic. The whole block of time is great about letting go of things, moving on, creating something new. It's a brilliant time. Next year is a fire horse year. So it's the first year in ages where we get to have a bit more fun, but it will be fast. And you don't want to be carrying a lot of old baggage going into a fire horse year. So this year is get rid of the baggage. Don't get rid of all the false beliefs, all the things you're carrying. Be light, be moving, get into that fire horse year, get carried forward. The illumination, we'll see things. It's a big shift, but we need to let go of stuff in this year, the limiting beliefs, shift things, and we need to come out of the soup. You can't sit on a horse in a soup.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You need to be out there. You need to be leading. You need to be in the herd. Horses are herd animals, and that. Should we do water
Yes, let's
energy?
do wood and water and
Yeah.
then
So water energy is related to winter, and in winter you live with the consequences of your previous actions. So winter is a pause between two things. So if you have a lot of water energy, you have qualities. Well, the big question you're asking is it safe? Are we safe? There's a whole thing about safety and security. One of its big gifts is the ability to go high and see perspective, to see the big picture. Sometimes with your ability to see the big picture and asking the question of am I safe, are we safe, you look up and you see the big picture and you go, oh Christ, no, we're not. We're not safe. We're not okay. We've got a shit storm here, and it can be overwhelming when you see that big picture of what's going on and you're asking, are we safe? Is it safe? Well, it doesn't appear to be the case. It appears to be that we've got major wars happening in the world. We've got world leaders that seem very odd and strange. We've got massive changes. We've got issues around sustainability. We've got issues around social cohesion. It does not feel safe in any way for someone with a lot of water energy. However, if you really go to the high big picture, which is kind of what I try to do, saying it will be fine, just it's not okay at the moment. And one of the things I try to get across to everybody, every energy needs to understand this, that what we're experiencing now is not our future. This is not our future. This is a bit like you're moving house and you're moving house and everything is sitting in boxes. You've got dust and chaos and whatever. That isn't your future. That is the move.
no, sure, it's just the
And it's
consequence.
really easy for all the energy to think, and particularly water energy, I think, can sometimes, with it looking out for danger and can think, oh my God, this situation is so terrible, it's so dangerous, and thinking this is our future. It isn't our future. So it can be quite kind of panicky, quite um, uh, difficult for water energy this time. However, as an energy, they are the most trusted energy. So we'll often find that news companies, particularly, will choose women with a lot of water energy to read the news because we trust that energy. And you'll often see them with square jaws, which is very typical water energy is square jaws. So look at the newsreaders, you'll see them all with these very square jaws because they have a lot of water energy and we trust them. So one of the things that you can have as a role with water energy at the time is you can say, okay, let's just keep a perspective, let's keep the big picture, let's look at what we need to do to sustain and keep safe, etc., etc. So they can be very good at learning, particularly, this is what the past is telling us. And you're seeing people out there, people on social media that were saying, look, this is what the past is telling us. Let's look back in history. We've had these cycles before. This is a cycle. Don't worry about it. Let's keep a balance. Let's keep a perspective. Let's move forward. And you have people with vast experience in history, and there are often people with a lot of water energy that are saying, this has happened before. Let's look at cycles and patterns and let's move forward. We will be fine. The issue around coming out of the soup for water energy is that it can feel not very safe out there. That's the first one. The other one is that they might well have been an energy that has been trying to hold all this stuff together. And every energy has a test that it sets itself around the big question. And the water energy test is let me test my own sustainability. So their soup may have been initiated by them losing the reserves and resources and burning out by trying to do too much for everybody, and they lose their sustainability, or they lose their finances, or they lose their reserves, or they lose their resources, or the business changes and they no longer have the same thing, they don't feel safe. So the big test is, can we go out there with what we have as our history, and can we at the same time maintain our own sustainability? So you'll see lots of eco warriors out there doing stuff about the planet and safety, and they are exhausting themselves doing it. And they're overwhelmed and they're exhausted and they're so the big thing with water energy is you've got to get your rhythm and routine and sustainability and your rest. You've got to do that. And I often say it's very hard to see a bright future through tired eyes. And that can be one of the issues with water energy. They get tired and they can't see a bright future. And therefore, they can't give us that picture about what it would be and hold us in a place of transition.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
do wood
Let's do
energy.
wood. Yeah, let's do wood, and then let's give people hope.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, fantastic. So wood energy is related to spring, and spring we basically have things anew, innovating. It's the imagination, it's the creativity, but it's got this big question: am I free? Are we free? So wood energy, we've had 2 wood energy years. So their sitting in the soup will be tapping into and tuning into with their intuitiveness that there is something new and they're in a way more comfortable with the possibility of something new. However, they can have had stuff around not having had boundaries in place. They can have stuff around being haunted by all the ideas that they had in the past that they never completed. And that can be an identity issue that they can start to collapse their energy down by saying, "Oh, I've got these dreams and I've got these hopes." And other people said, yeah, but you've had hopes and dreams all your life and you've never done anything with them. And so it is a dismantling of the essence and the way that we act with this energy that means we have to stay focused and we have to put boundaries in place and we have to stay on track. And that's the change that we're being asked to do, to actually finish things off, get things done, be part of it. And the old stories you had that you are not a completer finisher, you don't get things done, you start everything and you've got to put things in place in order to deal with that stuff and not say that is your future. That is how you were in the past, but that's not your future. You are someone that is innovative, creative, full of ideas, full of imagination, downloads ideas. And just because the past has not given you the results that you want as a result of those dreams, because you got partway through a dream and an idea, and then something else came along, you started to, basically you didn't finish anything.
Yes.
The soup has been harsh for that
It
because we could.
sounds like it exasperates our worst traits almost.
Yeah, that's well, the soup is getting us to look at those because the very thing that I'm earth with wood energy, brilliant at coming up with ideas, crap at finishing them. Get that shit together.
Yeah.
Earth energy is great at supporting people, but terrible at sacrifice. Get your shit together. Fire energy is great at illuminating, exciting, and being in the world, and can get distracted by every single shiny object and every bit of gossip. Get your stuff together. This is the soup has been us for us to get our stuff together. The dismantling is, and I did a video a few years ago talking about that I was feeling broken, broken by the experiences, broken by what had going on, broken by the loss, the trauma, and I was just feeling broken. And it was then the realization I wasn't being broken. What I was doing was I was being rearranged in order to come out as a new version. And we're being rearranged, but it will feel like we're being broken. But what are the lessons we are trying to do?
Much time in life, isn't it? Really?
It's a hell of a time, a hell of a time. And there is a school of thought that we chose to be here. You know?
Yeah. Oh.
And I think we did. I think if you look at the other thing I think is really important within this, they say that it's time of great change and the future is for the young. Actually, I think this is different. I think this era we're in is actually for the experienced, the people that have had life and experiences that they need to take in as guides to the future. The only problem with the life and experiences that we've had is some of them have left, we might have been left with damage from them. We might have been left with a lack of confidence. We might have been left with trauma, imprints. And this is our soup is to get over the imprints and the difficulties we had in the while we gained the experience to then take that and then put it out into the world. This is the age of the experienced, and we do need to come out of the soup.
So now
We
it's
do.
shifting. We're in
Yeah.
now
It,
things are moving, now things
yeah.
are shifting.
Yeah.
Um, we know our pitfalls, we know
Yeah.
the things that we might come up against. How how do we make sure we make the most of this shift?
Yeah. I think there are three things that we need to do. We need to have a common language.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the energies. I like the energies because they're a common language we can and they're a way to understand the complexity of things. So we can have a common language. We can say that my fire energy is really struggling. And you know if someone's got that fire energy, you go, oh, that's fantastic. I love that. We know we know how to support each other. It's why in 2019, as this was just beginning, I wrote the book, The Art of Kind and Fluent Relationships, and that is to try and give us to relationships. So we need a common language and we need common communities where we can come together. Uh, that I think is a big one. So that's why we put on courses, we do things to help common language. And you with do your Dharma, you have a community with a common language, getting people over this hump and through. And your work is brilliant at this time for this time. It's just brilliant. It is, and that is a
Support.
common
We all need
community with a
support.
common language and its support, whatever. And you'll have got through your stuff in order to be the better version of you in this next incarnation. Um, so common language community are a really, really important one. The second one I think is to just constantly remember what we are seeing now is not the future, is the transition between one thing and another. And don't get drawn into that, and particularly don't get drawn into the drama of what's going on. And we had a lovely conversation. We were talking about don't get drawn into the drama, do your Dharma. Yes. And don't get waylaid and think this is the thing and you just get drawn into the drama. And know that there is a future that you're meant to be moving into. And then the third thing is we will have had experiences in the last decade or of teaching us the basics, teaching us the basics. And we need to keep remembering to do the basics. Each energy needs to do something is their basics. Wood energy needs to say, okay, well, I need to read something new. I need to be innovative. I need to be out there. It has to have something new. Fire energy needs to learn about self-love and do the self-love practice and gratitude about being them. They need to accept the thing. Earth energy, you need, and fire energy, you also need to meditate. Otherwise, and same with wood energy. Otherwise, you're all over the place. Earth energy, you need to eat well. You really need to get your diet together to stay grounded, work on the earth, be kind of grounded. Metal energy, it needs to do breathing exercises, simplicity, minimalism, less is more, to just have that conscious isolation of breathing and breath work. And at the same, and breathing is brilliant for metal energy because it is the breathing out to the letting go and the taking in. It is that connection. When we come to Earth, the first thing we do is breathe, and the last thing we do is breathe out. And metal energy, you have to do breath work, whether it's singing breath work, that's really good. And with water energy, rest, sustainability is a big key. So the third thing is it's very energy dependent. First thing is, common language community stick together. Second one, this is not your future. We have a different future. And then the third thing is individual to each energy. But you will have had experiences in your life of learning to meditate or learning to eat well or learning to do breath work or gratitude or knowing you have to rest. And we can't ignore our past. Our past was preparing us for now.
Okay.
And those things will get us out of the soup. And we have to actively get out of the soup.
So going back to basics.
Go back to basics and actually recognize we have been in the soup and now is the time to come out and to ask for help, to support, do anything. But sitting in the soup is not what you should be doing from now on.
Right. So now it's about
Perfect for
taking
the
action.
past. It's not what you should be doing from now on. And when you come out into the soup, out of the soup and out into the world, you will bump into some of the things that you need to look at again. Will people like me? Am I going to get distracted? Am I going to get drawn into the drama? Is it an imperfect world? Is it scary? You're going to bump into those things, but you still have to come out to do the thing you're meant to do.
Yeah. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So back to basics, basically. Now
Basic
it's
stuff.
shifting.
Yeah.
How
Communities, support, common language.
get a
Don't get
community.
drawn into the drama. Don't get distracted.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Dharma Life Academy and offers for people.
Hmm.
Same as
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
your energetic. What do you call it? Five energies.
The five energies. Yeah. You discuss that in there. And yeah, so I think there are a lot of good courses out there at the moment that do your Dharma. I think you really have to have a few things involved with it that I know that you do. You have to have a deeper understanding common language that you're using. You also have to do some work around identity shifting to shift identity to something new. That you
Yeah.
have to have some stuff around that. That's often done in the Five Institute, we've got an 8-step process that we take through. But I know with Do Your Dharma, you do all the time allowing people to shift into a new identity,
Yeah, well, it's basically about how they shift from into their purpose.
into their purpose. Exactly, exactly. And it isn't a given that we'll do that identity shift because identities don't like to die. So you're more likely to try and stick with your old identity. However, none of us are caterpillars anymore, and we're not the soup anymore. We're moving out of it. Is what about what we are to become. And that is a new identity. And that takes some adjusting to.
And when will we feel the support of the energies?
Well, the energies have been supporting us all along. They
Okay.
constantly support us. We had 2020, 2021 were metal energy years when we were meant to let go. And metal energy is about releasing and letting go. And we had that. So we then had 2 water energy years, and water energy is around sustainability and consequences. So we started to question our sustainability and our consequences. That year helped us. Then we've had 2 wood energy years about revolution and change. Dragon, messages from heaven. Thank you very much. I like that. Snake, get rid of the limiting beliefs to do the next thing forward. Thank you very. So every single one of these years has been perfect for us to do the thing we're meant to do. Perfect metal energy block of time that we're in. It's about letting go of old ideas and old systems. Perfect. Next year, fire energy, let's expand outwards and get something to carry us forward. Thank you very much. We've got fire and a horse. So every year is the exact thing we need for what we need to do. And it gives us an opportunity to learn a lesson or resist the lesson and to interpret something in a different way. So you could interpret 2020 instead of being about minimalism and letting go and working out what you value and what's really important. You just become lonely and isolated and disconnected,
Yeah.
as opposed to actually, this is what matters to me. I've had everything taken away or everything's turmoil, but the one thing that matters to me is this, or isolation, disconnection.
So I think it'd be helpful for people listening to stop the podcast and maybe get a pen and paper and go back through and listen to it and write down the things that they should be doing, which will support them to get out of
Yeah,
the soup.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We we have covered a lot
We have covered a lot.
We
Yeah.
have covered a lot there, but it is a blueprint, a framework for recognizing. But I think the final thing I think is so important to recognize that if you have been in the soup, it has been the perfect place to be. However, it could have been very difficult, very traumatic, very the dismantling of everything for myself and I know for you, it's been a horrific experience on many levels. However, going into there is the right thing to do. It's just not the right thing to do to stay there.
Right. Now is the time then.
Now is the time to come out, remembering that it's difficult to get out of the soup because our identity is now someone that sits in the soup of not knowing. And we might well have lost the confidence to go out there in the world that we need to do. Or we might not have the confidence to do what we're here to do next. So we do need to get our confidence back. We do need to be kind to ourselves. We need to be supportive. We need to move ourselves forward. And I think the energy
You've
is
got a
do your job.
course you're running to help
Yeah,
you do that.
yeah. We've got a course starting next week called The Art and the Energy of Becoming. And it is, looking at what's the art of becoming. It's the becoming the butterfly. What's the energy behind it? And it is a course I won't ever run again. I don't think,
Okay.
because it is a course for now with the becoming. Might possibly do it next year, beginning. I don't know. But I tend to run courses exactly for what we need energetically. So this is the best time to do this course, and it is also logistically for ourselves the worst time. We come up to the holiday season, blah blah blah, and I've split it over the holidays. Bit now, and some now and some moving after. So I recognize that people that are in the soup, they're going, I can't do this, I'm overwhelmed, I've got all this muddle and all these different things. I can't possibly take on anything else. I've got too much going on. But I think this is the one that we should do. And it's designed to be supportive and simple, common language. But it will be the last thing you feel like doing. But the best thing you
So
should do.
yeah, push through. Okay.
Let's push through.
Right.
Just join.
Right. Just join.
Just
Okay.
join.
And how can people join?
If they go to Five Institute, FIVE Institute,
Yeah.
and .com, and they go to our events page, you'll see it there.
.com. Okay, I'll make sure I put the link in
Yeah.
show notes for
And
people.
with any of these things, we have kind pricing. We've got certain pricing that's based around kindness. So we made it absolutely as affordable as possible. But I think it's a fantastic time to do it.
Okay.
Mm.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure. I
Well, we've
love these
covered
conversations.
we've covered a huge amount today.
Huge.
So a huge amount. So yeah, definitely go back, get pen and paper and listen again. Listen in the car when you go take the dog for a walk. It's really important just to pick out the things that you could be doing to help you get out of the soup, not go
Yep.
into the drama, do your Dharma.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Oh,
Uh,
Nick, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
can I just say one thing, and
Mm.
this is for anyone in the future. If you are listening to this in the future in years to come, and you look back at this time, you think, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You can still do it in the future. It is just harder. It's easy to do it now, but it doesn't mean you've missed the boat. If you don't listen, the universe doesn't give you this podcast until later. That's what you've been given to get something from it, something from this. It doesn't mean you've missed out or you're terrible or it's awful or it's fine. The universe just gave it to you later for a certain reason.
Okay.
I think that's really important with your work, where you have all these guests and this massive library of complete wisdom, that this is recorded in a moment in time, but the universe gives it to you later. That's for a
Something in it
reason.
for you.
It's something in it for you still.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that you'll be able to find something that is
Yeah,
resonates with you and
yeah,
why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
yeah. And both Do Your Dharma and my courses, they evolve to fit with what's going on at the moment. So if you then listen to this and think, oh, I'm going to do my Dharma, it'll evolve to the perfect thing for that. And this was just a vehicle to get you there, or to one of my courses, or to take the vitality test.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd recommend everybody listening to take the vitality test. It's very helpful, very eye-opening, really helped me in my life, really understand myself and go deeper. And thoroughly. I think when you understand yourself and your pitfalls, it really makes life a lot easier.
yeah.
Excellent. Oh, thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Lovely.
And we will see you next week with another incredible guest on the Dharma Life podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.